will be the rallying cry for Republicans in Colorado for the next year. After getting smoked in last year's elections, they're pretty much powerless to stop progressive legislation run by Democrats at the State House. Now, recalls worked in 2013 when 3 Democratic state senators were sent packing for their support of gun control. This time, though, Republicans want to go for the governor. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
2 groups have filed with the Secretary of State's office to get rid of Governor Jared Polis. The official Recall Colorado Governor Jared Polis Committee wants to evaluate and discuss a potential recall and potentially file a petition. The people behind this group did not return my calls. Resist Polis Political Action Committee did not want to participate in this story. Their website claims a recall is coming. Some of the reasons? The national popular vote Polis just signed into law, the oil and gas bill being debated right now, even the red flag bill to temporarily seize guns from someone deemed a threat. The guy in charge of this campaign emailed me, "The work Resist Polis PAC is doing is all about results, not attention." Well, it's going to take a lot of results to recall Polis. Just to get it on the ballot, state law requires 25% of the people who voted for governor in the last election to sign a petition. That's 25% of 2.5 million. 631,266 people have to sign a petition to oust the governor just to get that question on the ballot for everyone to vote on. But this process can't even start until July at the earliest. Why? State law. Governors are given a 6-month probation period before you can try to kick them out. State lawmakers only have to be at work 5 days before you can try to boot them out of office. Oh, and you can't recall someone who only has 6 months left in office. I learned a lot about state law today, especially about the recall. Kyle, the thing with the governor, though, is if this can't start till July, you have to have a long memory. Do people still care over the summertime of what happened in the months prior, and who is that going to benefit at that time? And whenever we talk about these signature gathering efforts, they're hugely expensive. Oh, millions of dollars. And if you need, I was told 7 figures just to get 124,000 for those issues on the ballot. We're talking, what, times 5 now for that? That's going to be multi-millions of dollars. Yeah, got to have the mad and got to have the money. All right, Marshall, thank you. So another controversial issue that's driving these recall threats is the proposed oil and gas regulations. There's another marathon debate happening right now. Perhaps you recall last time the committee hearing lasted 12 hours. They went until 2 a.m. I think that's a good gig for those sergeants at arms, right? They run the show, get paid lots of sweet overtime.
No, there is no overtime. We get paid by the day, whether we work 8 hours or 20 hours, it's the same pay, which, again, we knew that coming in, and we're good with that.
John Judson's the chief sergeant at arms for the House. Spent 35 years as a state trooper, and don't you worry about him working through dinner tonight. He told us his meal's waiting in the break room fridge. But politics are a lot less heated when you go over to the Senate side. No, I'm just kidding. They're suing each other. So you know how Republicans tried to slow down the Senate by having that 2,000-page bill read aloud, and then how Democrats raced through the reading with 5 super-fast computers rather than 1 human? Well, Republicans sued Democrats over that, and they have to go to court tomorrow, you know, when they're supposed to be at work in the Senate. So today they had to stand up in class and ask to be excused. At the risk of getting sued, we're going to speed this up a bit.
I request to be excused tomorrow morning.
As I have a court appearance tomorrow morning, and I've spoken with the majority leader and the minority leader, and they have considered my excusal. I should ask to be excused tomorrow morning. I do have an appearance scheduled in court. I have to be excused for tomorrow morning for the same reasons. I have a court appearance tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Republicans are going to be in court asking a judge to say that Democrats violated the state constitution by speed reading the bill rather than having it done at a pace slow enough to be understood. We'll let you know what happens. We've discussed that disgraceful decision by Senate Democrats to keep the Senate open during the blizzard last week just so that they could keep their legislation moving, putting people at risk if they chose to venture out in the snow to testify. And perhaps because of that, they're going to change the rules of debate this week. The blizzard day's big contentious bill was paid family leave, and few people made it to the Capitol to testify in the middle of the storm. So tomorrow, when that bill goes before the State Finance Committee, they're not going to limit public testimony to just the economic impacts as they normally would. Citizens can come in to speak to any aspect of the bill. Colorado Republicans are being asked now by their state party to sign a petition to put the national popular vote law up for a popular vote. Governor Polis signed it quietly without cameras and fanfare last Friday. It gives Colorado's electoral votes to the winner of the national popular vote for president if enough other states agree to do this. That law did not have a single Republican supporter in the state legislature. Opponents will need 124,000 signatures by this summer in order to put it on the ballot. So we're getting our first look at the military spending projects that could be defunded in order to fund President Trump's border wall. And that list includes about $100 million in Colorado-based military projects. Spokesman for Republican Senator Cory Gardner tells me that those projects are safe. They say that when Gardner switched his position and voted for the president's national emergency declaration, that Gardner was assured that no money is going to come out of military spending in Colorado. So you know how we are obsessed with the Denver Police Department's community outreach Tesla, which sounds like a great way to reach those troubled kids hanging out outside a Restoration Hardware swapping fabric swatches. But the mystery of this community outreach Tesla is how DPD got it in the first place. They told us that it was seized, but only now has our Steve Steger figured out the backstory.
There she is, before the police paint, before the flashing lights. We are pretty sure that is DPD's Tesla, in a photo on the Instagram account of a guy named Aaron Baca, a guy who runs his own roofing company, a guy who, by the looks of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, doesn't appear to be involved in any shady stuff. Yet his Tesla is now DPD's Tesla, a story that dates back to the summer of 2017.
Prosecutors say it's the largest pot bust since marijuana was legalized in Colorado.
That is when law enforcement announced one of the largest illegal marijuana busts in Colorado history, Operation Toker Poker. The first mugshot on the big board matches the photo of Aaron Baca on Twitter. In an indictment, Baca was accused of forging mortgage documents to help his friends get houses and using his roofing business to launder money. And earlier this month, Baca pleaded guilty to money laundering, tax evasion, and conspiracy to distribute marijuana. And the AG felt it was time to finally tell us where DPD's Tesla came from. Prosecutors allege Baca bought it with illegal funds, perhaps best summed up in a comment on his Facebook page earlier this month where he explains what happened to a friend. Quote, "I still can't figure out what I was thinking the day I bought a Tesla straight cash, homie. Had I financed it like a normal person, I'd still have her today." So Baca is due to be sentenced in May. We reached out to him today, haven't heard back. So technically, the DEA seized the car and then shared it with their partners in this whole investigation, DPD. So according to the U.S. Attorney's Office, the seizure was uncontested. So, Kyle, it never went to court, so there's really no documentation that we could get our hands on today. It was just handled administratively by the DEA, and there you go.
And this cat thinks his mistake was that he didn't finance the car.
Yeah, he just went straight cash, homie, and that was the problem.
Life is about choices.
It is.
As we say here, life is about choices. All right, wave at that community outreach Tesla if you see it around town. It's very quiet. All right, thank you, Steve. Denver's newest non-stop flight out of DIA may not be non-stop after all, which does sort of defeat the purpose of a nonstop flight. But that is what's happening with Cayman Airways, because Cayman was running its nonstop flights from Colorado to the Caribbean with the now grounded Boeing 737 MAX 8s.
It will be the longest scheduled commercial flight that Cayman Airways has ever done.
Connecting the beaches of the Caribbean to Colorado. There was much celebrating. Miss Cayman Islands was there, and pirates.
This achievement is only being made possible thanks to the new Boeing 737-8 MAX.
But just 8 days after the new route launched, the Ethiopian Airlines flight crashed, and Cayman Airways grounded the plane that could reach Denver with ease. Now, Cayman is flying the route with another plane, which may or may not need to stop to refuel, depending on the weather and depending on how many people are on board Denver's newest nonstop. Sort of. They have completed some of these nonstop flights with their Boeing 737-300s without needing to stop to refuel, and they quite proudly noted they've done it at least once with a full plane load of passengers. Reached out to Cayman Airways today trying to figure out where they would stop to refuel and whether they know ahead of time whether it is a nonstop or not. Didn't hear back from them today. May I make a recommendation, point you towards something that did not come from us but is worth your time. It is a guest commentary that was written a few years back by the late Kyle Forty. He's the Coloradan killed in a helicopter crash in Kenya earlier this month. He was a well-known Republican political strategist in our state. He was also a foster parent, along with his wife Hope. 8 years they foster children in our state. His commentary is a challenge for men to step up and love a child in need. He wrote that commentary for the Department of Human Services Child Welfare website just before Father's Day 2017. We have a link to Kyle Forty's words on the next Facebook page.
Police need a new strategy to catch the alleged shoplifter who left his phone behind because he didn't respond to their Facebook post. Probably because he doesn't have his phone. Who pays for damage to cars from the bomb cyclone? And the Colorado State Patrol would like a word with you. And that word is thanks.
The Colorado State Patrol has heard your condolences following the line-of-duty death of Corporal Dan Groves during last week's blizzard, and CSP has seen the tributes. This time, it's everyday citizens who are the good ones, showing love and support to the family, friends, and co-workers of Corporal Groves. CSP posted photos of the paintings and the tributes sent their way following Corporal Groves' death while he was helping a driver along I-76 during the storm. Public memorial services are still in the planning process. Details haven't been released. Groves' family asked that his procession last week be private. Snow from that blizzard continues to linger on in the shady corners of our lawns, and it continues to impact the wallets of a lot of our neighbors, like the drivers whose cars got buried in snow on the highways and the owners of cars crushed beneath trees that came down. We've heard from a number of people asking why it's up to them to dish out their money for a tow of state-owned road or the damage done by somebody else's falling tree. We touched base with an insurance expert as well as CSP today, and both said if you drive in the weather and you don't have comprehensive insurance coverage, then you are going to pay for any damages that result. If you were stranded on a highway during the storm, state troopers called out tow trucks to remove vehicles so those roads could be cleared. And if you were on the side of a state highway, troopers in CDOT tried to give you 48 hours before they called a tow truck.
And it is the responsibility of the person that was driving the vehicle that they're going to be responsible financially for it if it had to be moved within that time frame or after that time frame.
Fact is, there are still some cars that are not drivable that are along the sides of roads and in ditches, various places in our state. They cannot be removed by themselves. Check with the municipality first, the city or the county, but it is likely going to be your responsibility to hire a tow truck and get it out of there.
Fortunately, we are not calling for any huge snowstorms this week. In fact, it's going to be calm. It's going to be mild. Out there tonight, I am tracking some very light snow that's out to our west, including some rain that's trying to fall east of I-25 there. You can see it, those light green colors showing up on the radar screen from Loveland extending out to Greeley. That's ahead of a cold front that's going to be bringing in some very minor changes for us tomorrow. As it sweeps through, we'll see snow showers increase in intensity across our mountains, mainly just to the west of the Denver metro area. And then by tomorrow night, a chance for some rain or snow here in the city. It'll be flurries at best here for us, perhaps some drizzle, but down to our south over places like Castle Rock, we might see some very minor accumulation. Here's a closer look at that forecast as we get all the way now into Tuesday. You can see the snow builds out to our west. That'll be at about lunchtime, and then it pushes east in the form of rain and snow for Denver. But if you're around Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, Perry Park, you could get up to half an inch, perhaps an inch of accumulation by the time that quick system moves through. After that, we're warming up to 54. We start spring officially on Wednesday at 3:58 p.m. and then we're staying right there in the middle and upper 50s Thursday through the weekend with a couple of chances for rain also showing up Friday and Saturday.
The bomb cyclone put our snowpack back above normal. What does that mean exactly? We'll answer your next question. And the most Colorado thing we've seen today is actually a stealthy way to save energy. Next. Our next question comes from John. He wants to know, what is normal? You're asking the wrong man, John. Oh, you want to know about snowpack? Oh, what percentage of normal? Oh, I got you now. Hey, we've got a bunch of great meteorologists here at 9 News, and Kylie Burse is going to handle this question.
We love to show you this map because snowpack, it plays a huge role in our water supply. Most of our water for drinking and irrigation, it all depends on these numbers. Now, when we say normal, 150% of normal, we mean for one specific day's numbers for the past 30 years. The Natural Resource Conservation Service looks at those records for every single day, and they take the median number. Do you ever mean median and mode from school? I know, we're taking you way back. They put the day's numbers in order from lowest to highest, and then that middle number, that's the median. So they're calculating the snowpack every single day compared to where it was on this day for previous years. The takeaway is that being above normal, like right now, this is a good thing. We can save that water. It's like extra money in the bank for a rainy day, or in this case, a not so rainy day.
Things are not looking good these days for our friend who got internet famous last week for allegedly shoplifting in the tiny city of Lakeside and then leaving his phone there at the scene. Lakeside police put him on blast on Facebook. They posted one of Crow Lowry's selfies and asked him to come in and claim his phone along with his shoplifting citation. I checked in to see if he came by the PD. Crow ain't no fool. He did not come in to get his phone with a side helping of trouble. So Lakeside police tell me they went to his place. That's the thing about police. They will deliver if you ask. But police say that Crow wouldn't answer the door. So they've now issued a warrant for his arrest. We are beginning to see some photos for our You've Crossed a Line segment that almost defy belief. Take a look. Tracy saw this parking job in Fort Morgan. This is a potential problem. They're going to need some help getting that out of there, but I suppose somebody at least saved themselves from a worse situation. Keep the photos coming with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com. Are you a license plate geek? I'm a huge license plate geek, so I love the most Colorado thing we've seen today. And your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we've seen today is an auto salvage yard that seems to be recycling every single license plate that comes its way. A Next viewer sent us photos of the garage covered in license plates on the lot of Penrose Auto Salvage out west of Pueblo. We got in touch with the owner, Liz, who tells us that it was actually her dad who started this collection about a decade ago. She kept it going when she took over the business.
My favorite thing about it is at night, if you're coming down the road, all those license plates have reflective coating on them, and so the whole building kind of reflects. It's pretty cool.
That sounds like something to see. I think I spotted a Pennsylvania in there with all those Colorados, and apparently there's an unexpected energy savings as well from coating the building in the plates. We finished with your feedback as always, and Dorothy writes in to say that she didn't like the fact that I mentioned that the late Kyle Forty, who's encouraging foster parenting in our state, was a Republican strategist. She thought that was an unfair political shot. It was not, Dorothy. He was very proud of his politics and the work that he did on Republican campaigns in our state, and I think it's important to tell you why he was a known person around our state. Not so much for the foster parenting, but now, following his death, that's what's come to the fore, and that's the message that his wife, Hope, would like to get out. Linda writes in to say, love the clothes, love the balanced reporting style. Most importantly, I learn something new every day and am gently reminded to be kind to all. Hey, that's a good takeaway. We'll take that any day of the week. And KM writes in to say, just want you to know that my 10-year-old son, Henry, yells, Kyle Clark is on every evening. He's more excited about your newscast than he is about dessert. Hey, Henry, thanks for watching. Go have dessert. See you next time.